At the turn of the century, the Enhancing Excellence campaign continued to transform campus. 2 dormitories, Erb Hall East and Kaufman Court, had major remodeling work done. The scenes from 9/11 were etched in the memories of those at Hesston College just as they were for others around the world. There was an immediate adverse effect on the aviation industry, and consequently the college's aviation department. From 1970 to 2001, more than 450 pilots had been trained at Hesston. The Federal Aviation Administration ordered a 2-week shutdown of all flight operations. The mandated flight cancellation complicated an already tight schedule for Hesston aviation students. Students remained positive, according to Director Dan Miller, and were eager to get into the air again. But also affected were international students, who since the post-World War II era had become an integral part of campus life. International Student Advisor Dave Osborne reported that due to increased homeland security measures, 15 of 34 student visa applications were denied for the fall of 2002. 4 were targeted as possible security threats and detained, causing them to miss the first days of the term. Consequently, only 14 were enrolled as first-year students, the lowest since 1988. When Mennonite Church USA was born in 2002, Mennonite colleges had the option of choosing how closely to relate to the church. Of all the schools, only Hesston chose the highest level of ownership and accountability through the Mennonite Education Agency. This relationship to the church, said President Schwarzenegger, deserves to be celebrated and recognized. As former MBE President Orville Yoder put it, Hesston can rightfully say it is the only educational institution fully owned by the church. An unexpected consequence of 9/11 and the ultra-patriotism it produced was that Hesston found itself embroiled in public controversy because it had no flagpole. A state representative proposed cutting Hesston's tuition grants because the U.S. flag did not fly on Hesston's campus. President Schwarzenegger said, "Never in my professional life have I encountered any situation that so dominated my thinking, time, and emotions for so long a period as this one." Enhancing Excellence fundraising and projects continued. When the development staff successfully won a $1.5 million Maybe grant by the January 2003 deadline, the campus community gathered to celebrate. The festive mood was tempered by Lawrence Schwarzenegger's announcement that he was resigning to become president at EMU. It was the first time a Mennonite college had recruited a president from a sister institution, and the first time any Mennonite president entered the office with prior experience as a college president. That spring, the women's softball team made it to the national tournament for the first time. The admissions staff created a sensation at the Atlanta Youth Convention with a drawing among high school students to win a 1973 Volkswagen Super Beetle. By July, veteran pastor and churchman Peter Wiebe was in the president's office as interim, a role that he had never considered nor aspired to. On September 27, 2003, the campus community and the Tillman Smith and Mary Miller families gathered to dedicate the new Smith Center, which enveloped an expanded Mary Miller Library. The $2.6 million facility honored 4th president of Hesston College, Tillman R. and his wife, Luella Smith. Sports highlights included the naming of the first All-American for men's basketball, Steve Martin of Cheraw, Colorado. He was the only All-American picked in Region 6. But even more significant, said outgoing coach Luke Hartman, is that Martin was one of 4 Larks named as academic All-Americans on the basketball team. In the fall of 2005, the new student count was 272, the highest in 15 years. 6 of the 272 students were enrolled in the new disaster management program. It was the result of a unique partnership with Mennonite Disaster Service. On October 29, 2005, during a weekend filled with music, poetry, drama, dance, and art, Howard Keim was inaugurated president. When the festivities were ended, President Keim's mentor and inaugural guest, Dr. Robert Rowland, observed, "I was struck by the fact that every ritual seemed tied to a key goal or value of the institution. We have a lot of pomp at the University of Kansas, but the rituals lack any significant meaning. At Hesston, it was just the opposite." With financial challenges facing him, President Keim went to work. 3 years later, the accumulated operational deficit had been eliminated, a new shared facility with Hesston Mennonite Church was dedicated, and a new Friesen Center for the Visual Arts honoring Paul and Wilma Friesen was built and dedicated. As Hesston ended its first century, it took a moment to remember those who had a vision for the school in the West. It also looked forward to the new generations who would take that vision to the church and into the world. I pledge my